Well, today we are dissecting the phrase that is basically your superpower for dissolving that exact tension.
And that phrase is?
Break the ice.
A classic. And so useful.
Totally. And this isn't just about, like, adding a new idiom to your list.
No, it's much more than that.
It's about giving you a direct shortcut to sounding more natural, more confident, and, ultimately more connected in your English conversations.
But that's the key, isn't it? Connection.
Exactly. So we're going to explore its precise meaning, dig into its surprising origins. They're really vivid, actually.
Looking forward to that part.
Yeah. And dive into a whole bunch of real-world examples, and then we'll show you exactly how you can immediately use it, to really empower your interactions.
Especially when meeting new people.
Right. Or stepping into those unfamiliar social settings.
Yeah.
So get ready to turn those awkward silences into, well, real connections.
And that's precisely why this deep dive is so much more than just a language lesson.
Right.
While break the ice might seem like, just another phrase, understanding it and actually using it authentically, that's fundamentally about mastering the whole dance of social dynamics, human communication.
It's a intricate dance, yeah.
We've all experienced it, that tension you can almost feel, that quiet worry hanging in the air when people don't know each other well.
You can hear the crickets.
Exactly. It's that moment where everyone's kind of silently waiting for someone else to make the first move.
Yeah.
This phrase, break the ice, it doesn't just describe that challenge, it actually gives you the solution.
Okay.
So the real value for you listening in isn't just knowing what it means, it's realizing it's a remarkably simple tool.
Simple, yeah.
But a profoundly powerful one. It's not just about making yourself feel more relaxed in those moments.
Which is nice, too.
Absolutely. But critically, it's about proactively creating an environment where everyone else feels more comfortable, too. More at ease.
So you're changing the whole room's vibe.
You are. It's like an act of social grace, really. A linguistic key, as you said, to unlocking smoother, more productive human connections.
I love that linguistic key.
Yeah.
It really does highlight the power we have, doesn't it? To kind of shape an interaction.
Absolutely.
So let's unlock this phrase then, starting with its absolute core meaning.
Okay.
At its heart, break the ice means basically to start a conversation in a social setting.
Right.
Especially when people don't know each other and things feel, well, a little awkward or uncomfortable.
That initial stiffness.
Exactly. It's about finding that first way to make people feel more relaxed, more at ease when they're meeting for the very first time.
Melting that barrier.
Melting that barrier, perfect. But this really makes me wonder, why is that initial discomfort so, incredibly common for humans?
That's a great question.
What is it about meeting new people or entering a new group that sometimes makes us so quiet, so hesitant, so frozen?
That's a truly fascinating question. And it goes deep, actually, into the sort of evolutionary psychology of how we interact.
Okay. Biology.
Pretty much. That initial ice isn't just silence. It's a physical feeling almost of our built-in social anxieties, our primal wiring.
Yeah.
Think about it like this. For, most of human history, meeting someone new, especially a stranger, wasn't always safe, right? It came with risks.
Friend or foe.
Exactly. Our brains are like these ancient supercomputers constantly scanning for threats. So when you meet someone new or walk into a new group, that old assessment mode just kicks in.
Automatically.
Okay, am I safe here? What are the rules I don't know? And this isn't just being shy. No, it's a deep-seated, almost instinctual hesitation. It creates a kind of protective barrier. We're stepping into the unknown socially, and that feels vulnerable.
Right. That makes sense.
So the ice is really that shared vulnerability, that reluctance we all feel to be the first one to sort of put ourselves out there, understanding that the sort of brain science behind it gives you a really powerful perspective.
Tough so.
Well, breaking the ice isn't just about making small talk then. It's about actively disarming those ancient, often unconscious alarm bells in yourself and in others too.
So you're signaling safety.
You're signaling safety and openness.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So it's less a polite social custom
Much less.
and more like a biological need to make the environment feel safe. That really shifts things, doesn't it?
Totally does.
It makes the act of breaking the ice less about, finding some super clever thing to say.
Right, the pressure's off a bit.
And more about creating a basic sense of psychological safety. So, okay, where do we actually see this playing out most often?
Yeah.
In the real world.
Exactly, establishing that safety. And because this need is so fundamental, Breaking the ice pops up in really practical everyday scenarios, situations I guarantee you've all been in.
Okay, like what?
Well, first, and maybe the most obvious one, when you're meeting someone new.
Right, the classic.
Think about walking into a networking event, maybe, or being introduced to a friend of a friend. Those first few moments are critical.
Make or break, almost.
Kind of.
Yeah.
That's where connections either start forming or, well, they get blocked by that awkward barrier if nobody takes the lead.
You just stand there smiling politely.
Exactly. Polite but distant until the moment just kind of fizzles out. Knowing how to break the ice can totally change that whole dynamic.
Oh,
It turns a potentially uncomfortable few minutes into maybe the start of a real connection. It's about making that first move, showing you're, approachable, open.
okay, that makes sense. What else?
Second, it's absolutely crucial when starting a meeting or some kind of group activity.
The work context. Or
Yeah.
class.
Yeah. Picture a conference room or a classroom. Everyone's kind of quiet, maybe checking their phones, looking at their notes, just waiting for things to start.
Yeah, there's that individual quietness energy.
That's a good way to put it. To shift from that state to everyone being engaged, participating, you absolutely need to break the ice.
How would you do that?
Could be anything, really. A quick round of introductions, a light question, maybe even just sharing a quick laugh before getting down to the agenda.
So it shifts the group's focus.
Precisely. It transitions the group from just being like a collection of separate people into a working unit, ready to actually collaborate.
Okay. And the third scenario?
And third, it's really powerful when you're trying to start a conversation in a situation that's just quiet or shy.
Like a party where you don't know many people.
Exactly. Or maybe you're in a waiting room and the silence feels really heavy. In those moments, knowing how to break the ice empowers you to take the initiative.
So you don't have to wait for someone else.
Right. You're not waiting. You're proactively opening up those communication channels. And the strategic advantage there is huge.
What strategic?
Because you're not just passively waiting for comfort to happen. You're actively creating a more welcoming, open environment, which usually means more productive, too, for everyone involved, including yourself.
You become the catalyst.
You become the catalyst for connection. And that's a really powerful social skill to have.
That idea of being a catalyst, of actively shaping the atmosphere, that really lands. It almost makes you think these phrases aren't just descriptive, they're kind of prescriptive. Like they tell us how to act.
That's a really insightful way to look at it. Yeah.
And our sources, they give us some fantastic examples of this actually happening. They help us see all the different ways this ice can be melted.
Let's hear them.
Okay, let's dig into the first one. He told a funny joke to break the ice at the party.
Ah, the humor approach. Classic.
It is. And what's fascinating is the immediate impact humor has. Laughter is, well, it's probably one of the best social lubricants we have. When someone tells a genuinely funny joke, it triggers like a physical response, right? People relax, you see their shoulders drop.
They smile, they laugh together.
Yeah. And chemically, it's releasing endorphins, the feel-good stuff, and lowering cortisol, the stress hormone.
So it literally changes how people feel.
Instantly. That shared positive moment creates an almost immediate, even if temporary, bond. It clearly shows someone taking an active, intentional step to ease the mood.
He didn't wait, he created the connection.
Exactly, through the universal language of laughing together. It's kind of low risk, high reward.
If the joke lands.
Huh. True. Okay, then consider this one, which I find really interesting. I was nervous at the job interview, but the manager broke the ice by asking about my favorite movie.
Oh, that's a good one. Very different context.
Totally different. A job interview is naturally high stakes, formal. Your guard is up, you're trying to impress, the pressure's on. But when the manager throws in a seemingly light, personal, non-threatening question like, what's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
How so? It humanizes the whole situation. It shifts the interviewee from just being nervous and performing to feeling a bit more relaxed, maybe more authentic. The manager's skill there is really profound. They're not just making small talk.
No, it's strategic.
It's demonstrating emotional intelligence, creating psychological safety.
Yeah.
They're basically saying subtly, hey, I see you as a person, not just a resume.
And that lets the candidate relax and show their real self.
Exactly. It allows them to breathe, show their true potential. It can dramatically improve the whole interview.
That's a great example of using it effectively.
And finally, this one. We played a fun game to break the ice before class started.
Ah, the group activity approach.
Yeah. This shows how a structured, shared activity can collectively make everyone feel less shy, more connected before you get into the serious stuff.
Like an orientation or a workshop.
Exactly. Imagine a new class, everyone sitting there stiffly, maybe avoiding eye contact. A simple game. Maybe two truths and a lie or something quick.
Gets people moving, interacting. Right. It gets people talking, maybe even a bit competitive in a fun way, but without the pressure of intense one-on-one conversation right away.
It provides a shared focus.
A shared focus, yeah,
Right.
that lets people interact around something. It's the power of collective engagement, really, building group cohesion. It shows breaking the ice doesn't always have to be like a direct verbal thing.
It can be an experience.
It can be a shared experience that builds common ground, makes the group feel like a team right from the get-go.
Those are excellent examples. They really show the range, don't they? From individual humor to structured activities.
Definitely.
And what's truly fascinating, building on that, is just how versatile Break the Ice is. It stretches across so many different specific everyday situations where it's just invaluable.
Okay, like where else?
Well, think about the first day at school or work.
High anxiety zones, for sure.
Absolutely. New faces, new rules, often a lot of nerves. So the strategic use of initial activities, often formally called icebreakers.
We'll get to that term later, yeah.
Yes. Right. They're absolutely crucial. They're not just filler activities. They're actually designed to create that sense of belonging, reduce the worry, and speed up the process of feeling safe in the group.
So they prevent people from just staying quiet and isolated.
Pretty much. Without them, you might see people kind of observing silently for weeks before real connections happen, which isn't great for morale or getting work done. Good onboarding often starts by breaking the ice.
Okay. What about more personal settings?
Yeah, then there's the more organic situation of meeting new friends.
At a party, maybe.
Yeah, or a social event. How do you bridge that initial gap? Often it's about finding some common ground, talking about shared interests, music, travel, hobbies.
Something you both like.
Exactly. That serves as a really natural, low-pressure conversation starter. Just asking about something and discovering you share that interest is breaking the ice in that moment.
I feel like a little probe. Anything we connect on here.
That's a great way to put it. A gentle probe for connection. Then, back to business meetings. You mentioned humor, and it's key. Formality and seriousness can sometimes, unintentionally, just kill creativity and open discussion.
Everyone's afraid to speak up.
Right. So a well-timed, appropriate bit of humor or a light observation can really change the energy, loosen things up, make people feel more comfortable.
Which leads to better discussion.
Often, yeah. More candid talk, better collaboration, maybe even more innovative ideas because people feel safer saying things without being judged. The ice in a meeting is often that fear, isn't it?
Fear of sounding silly or challenging someone senior.
Exactly. And a good icebreaker can start dismantling that fear.
Even online. Does it apply there?
Oh, absolutely. Even in online conversations, video calls, chat groups, social media, you're missing all those nonverbal cues, right?
Body language, tone.
Yeah.
Which makes connection harder.
Yeah.
But the need to break the ice is still totally there. A simple gesture, like a friendly emoji.
Smiley face.
Yeah, or a GIF that captures a mood, or even just a quick, "Morning, everyone, how's it going?" that can bridge the communication gap. It signals friendliness.
It signals friendliness, approachability. It opens the door for real conversation in a way that just cold text might not. It kind of simulates that in-person warmth.
Okay, one more.
And of course, dating.
Ah, the big one.
Arguably one of the highest pressure social situations, yeah. Where that initial connection feels so important. First dates are almost defined by needing to break the ice.
Definitely.
So a fun, engaging question, not too personal, but something that reveals personality and maybe gets a laugh.
Like what? Any examples?
Maybe something like, what's the most unusual food you've ever tried?
Yeah.
Or if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? Something a bit playful.
Gets beyond the standard, what do you do?
Exactly. It reduces the awkwardness, helps genuine connection happen, lets personalities actually come out.
Right.
So, look, in all these really different situations, boardrooms, first dates, online chats, the basic goal of breaking the ice is always the same.
Which is?
It's about proactively creating that comfortable, open, psychologically safe foundation so that real, meaningful human interaction can actually happen. It's clearing the path, basically, for connection to grow.
Clearing the path for genuine connection. That's a really nice way to think about it. And building on that, it's interesting how the phrase itself has evolved into a noun. Icebreaker.
Right, the tool itself.
Exactly. An icebreaker is just the question or the game or the activity that does the job of making people comfortable. It's the specific action, not just the general idea.
Mm-hmm.
Think about some common icebreaker questions. You've definitely heard these, probably used them. Simple things like, what's your favorite food and why?
Always a safe bet.
Or, if you could visit any country, where would you go? What would you do?
Gets people dreaming a bit.
Yeah. Or even, what's one fun, surprising fact about yourself?
Ah, the fun fact sometimes puts people on the spot, though.
It can. But the point is, they aren't meant to be super deep philosophical questions, right?
No, definitely not.
They're designed to be low stakes, easy to answer, give everyone a chance to share a little bit without feeling too exposed.
They just unlock the conversation, provide an easy way in.
Exactly. An easy, neutral entry point. And you listening can think about how you'd maybe tailor those questions,
Yeah.
A professional event might need a different icebreaker than a casual party.
Context matters.
Totally. But the key thing is, they provide a starting point, a thread to pull, a low-friction way to get things going without that pressure of having to just magically start talking.
They provide a scaffold for connection.
Nice. A scaffold for connection.
And that's where understanding the phrase's history, its etymology, really adds another layer. It enhances our appreciation for why it's so powerful and why it's stuck around.
Okay, let's deconstruct it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So break obviously means, to open or crack something.
Right.
And ice is literally frozen water. But in the idiom, ice takes on this really deep symbolic meaning.
Which is?
It represents the distance or silence between people.
Yeah.
Where that phrasing kind of hard barrier of initial awkwardness we talked about, that social chill. Now, this isn't just a random connection. It's a perfect example of what linguists call a conceptual metaphor.
Okay, what's that?
It's where we understand something abstract, like social discomfort, by thinking about it in terms of something concrete, like physical ice.
Okay, like time is money.
Exactly. Our language is packed with these hidden bridges. They let us grasp complex feelings and social things through vivid physical images.
That's why idioms feel so intuitive sometimes.
Precisely. They often bypass pure logic and connect directly with our shared human experience. They resonate deeply.
So how does the ice metaphor work here historically?
Well, picture a ship way back when trying to sail through frozen waters like the Arctic or something.
That's treacherous.
Definitely. It would need a special, powerful ship, an icebreaker ship, to literally smash through the physical ice.
To clear a path.
To clear a path, exactly. To allow safe passage, stop the main ship from getting stuck, isolated. That literal act of breaking through a solid, unmoving, potentially dangerous barrier. To allow movement and connection is perfectly mirrored in the metaphorical act of breaking the ice socially.
You're cracking through the silence.
You are literally cracking through the silence or tension that's blocking communication, blocking connection. You're allowing the flow of conversation and rapport to start, removing the obstacle.
Wow.
And that vivid, concise imagery is exactly why the phrase has lasted for centuries, why it clicks with people across cultures.
It just makes immediate sense.
It encapsulates those complex social dynamics, those common human feelings, in a way that's instantly understandable. The fact that it's still so popular tells you a lot about that universal need we all have to get past those initial hurdles and connect.
It's like a testament to how language reflects our social world.
And even shapes how we think about navigating it. It gives us a shared tool for dealing with those tricky first encounters.
That connection to the actual icebreaker ship is so powerful, it really makes the idiom stick in your mind, doesn't it? Paints a clear picture.
It really does.
Now, while break the ice is definitely, the go-to phrase for that specific initial awkwardness.
It's the most common one.
Right. It's always good to have options to expand your vocabulary toolkit. There are similar expressions out there. They might convey a related idea, maybe not exactly identical, but they give you more nuance.
Good point. Like what?
Well, for instance, you could just say, start the conversation.
Pretty direct.
Very direct. But notice, it doesn't have that specific feeling of overcoming awkwardness. You could start a conversation about the weather anytime, right?
Right.
Doesn't mean you broke any ice if there wasn't any to begin with.
True. It lacks the barrier element.
Exactly. Then there's warm things up.
Okay.
This focuses more on changing the general vibe, making it friendlier, more inviting, maybe after things have been a bit stiff or cool for a while.
So maybe after the ice is broken.
Could be, yeah. To deepen the comfort, then lighten the mood.
Uh,
This one's more about making people feel happier or more relaxed, especially if things got too serious or tense. Like you might lighten the mood in a heated debate. Different situation.
Right, not about meeting new people necessarily.
Not necessarily. And finally, get things rolling.
That sounds more like starting an activity.
It often is. Starting an activity or a discussion, getting momentum going.
Yeah.
Not just a one-on-one chat, more about initiating a process.
Okay.
So while all those are useful, you have to admit, break the ice still has that unique, kind of indispensable nuance.
You think so?
Yeah, because it specifically targets that initial, often uncomfortable silence or emotional distance before any real connection or comfort is established. It's different from just starting a conversation because it implies overcoming that barrier.
It carries the weight of that psychological hurdle.
Exactly.
That's a crucial distinction, yeah. And it really underlines why break the ice usually remains the strongest, most widely understood choice for that specific situation, that initial social discomfort. You know, while you might choose warm things up if a room feels cool but people already know each other, or lighten the mood if things got too heavy.
Right.
Break the ice is just perfectly tailored for the very beginning. That first step across the threshold of unfamiliarity.
It's evocative.
It really is. It paints that picture of a barrier coming down, a path being cleared, which reinforces why, if your goal is specifically making new people feel comfy and starting a relaxed chat, break the ice is probably your best bet. It's almost always understood.
It encourages you to appreciate the little differences between idioms.
Absolutely. The subtle richness. Each one adds something unique. Understanding these nuances isn't just about sounding fluent.
Yeah.
It's about communicating precisely what you intend, strategically.
All right, this has been an absolutely fantastic exploration. We've gone deep into the meaning, the origins, the uses of break the ice.
It's a great phrase.
It really is. But the best way to really lock this in, to make it your phrase, is to practice it.
Active learning.
Exactly. So let's do a quick mental exercise. I'm going to give you 3 fill-in-the-blank sentences straight from our source material, and I want you, listening, to mentally, or hey, even say it out loud, complete them with the phrase we've been talking about. Think about the context, why it fits, all the nuances we just covered.
Okay, challenge time.
Ready? Here's the first one. At the team lunch, I tried to, by asking everyone their favorite food. What fits best there? That initial group awkwardness. Got it. Okay, here's number 2. We played a game 2 before the workshop. Picture that new group, maybe a bit stiff before starting the main task. And the third one, he used a funny story too during the online class. Think about connecting digitally. Did you get it for all 3? The answer, naturally, is break the ice.
Hopefully everyone got it.
I bet they did. And if you could picture those situations and mentally rehearse using the phrase, understanding why it's the perfect fit each time, well, you're already making it a natural part of your active vocabulary.
It's about internalizing its strategic use, not just memorizing.
Exactly.
And that visualization is super powerful. It really does prime your brain for using it in the real world. But beyond just knowing the meaning and when to use it, there's one last crucial piece to really mastering any phrase.
What's that?
Confident, natural pronunciation.
Ah, yeah. Well, you say it.
Exactly. When you say a phrase naturally, fluently, it automatically makes you sound more confident, more authentic, more engaged in the conversation.
Definitely.
So let's actually practice that right now. I'm going to say 3 sentences, and I really encourage you to repeat them slowly after me, just like our source material suggests. Focus on the flow, the rhythm, the natural way the words connect.
Okay, let's do it.
Ready? First one, let's break the ice. Pause for repetition. Good. Try to get that emphasis. Let's break the ice. Second one, she broke the ice with a joke. Pause for repetition. Notice the past tense, broke the ice, flows smoothly. And finally, we need to break the ice before the meeting. Pause for repetition. Hear that determined, forward-looking tone. We need to break the ice.
This kind of active physical practice, it's not just about your pronunciation muscles.
Right.
It's about building the muscle memory, the brain pathways. You need to just use this phrase effectively, effortlessly, with confidence, when you actually need it.
It bridges the gap.
It bridges the gap between knowing about the phrase and truly owning it, making it an intuitive tool in your communication kit.
And that right there is ultimately what the deep dive is all about, taking you from just knowing something to confidently, strategically applying it in your actual life. What an incredible journey today into Break the Ice.
It really is a cornerstone phrase. It truly is one of the most useful and, I'd say, emotionally intelligent idioms in English for conversation, for social interaction. We've seen it's not just about starting a chat.
No, much deeper.
It's about actively creating comfort, dissolving tension, making human connection easier by tackling those deep-rooted social anxieties we talked about.
That link to emotional intelligence is key.
It is.
Yeah.
That ability to understand and manage emotions, yours and others, to build stronger, more authentic connections. So remember this core message. Knowing how to break the ice means you have this powerful tool.
A tool for comfort.
A tool to make any moment more comfortable, not just for you, but really profoundly for the people around you too. You get to be that catalyst for positive human connection.
And if we zoom out just a bit, connect this specific idiom to the bigger picture, it really highlights a universal human challenge, doesn't it? And an opportunity.
How so?
Well, breaking the ice in its basic form is about starting connection, getting past that initial resistance. So, if ice represents those unspoken barriers, the silences, the assumptions between people in new groups, sure, but maybe elsewhere too. It raises a bigger question for you to think about, long after you finish listening. What other forms of ice might we be, maybe accidentally, maintaining in our lives?
Interesting. Go on.
Think beyond just meeting new people. Could there be ice in a relationship that's gone quiet, where communication has kind of frozen over, or ice between departments at work, leading to problems and misunderstandings? What about the ice between communities, or even nations? Built on old ideas or just a lack of real talk?
Wow. Okay.
And maybe, most profoundly, what about the ice inside our own heads? Those rigid beliefs or fears that stop us from connecting more deeply with ourselves or with others?
Internal ice.
Yeah. How might we find creative ways to break that ice too? To foster deeper understanding, empathy, genuine connection in every part of our lives?
That's a powerful thought to end on.
Asking those questions. Stay curious about language, not just as rules, but as this powerful living tool for empathy, for challenging those invisible barriers, and for building those vital bridges in every human interaction.